Good morning, Breakfast Club family. This is Mark Stevens, your host, Joe Shoup. Top of the morning to you. Hope you had a great holiday. Welcome to the Breakfast Club. Those that come every week, welcome. And the new people that come today, welcome. We got a great topic for you today. We're going to get right to it. We usually try to do this within a half an hour. And so we're going to get right to it. So, Joe, how you doing this morning?
Good morning, Mark. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Good. How about you?
I am doing fantastic and amazing. Ready to go.
All right. Well, this is an interesting topic. You and I have these discussions once these things happen. And I don't know how many people are aware of this, of what's going on. And I just thought this would be a really good topic to talk about today so that people can get the right perspective of what's going on. Let me make a couple of comments before we go. I noticed some of the people that took the class, they sent out a letter. Now, usually we do that right away after the class, but since we were in vacation mode and I wanted to make sure that people had time to go over their class notes and go over their scripts and then work with each other. So here's some recommendations. I sent it out. You saw the instructions. Get in touch with each other. In fact, you should get in touch with me today as well, so I can go over some things with you, do that individually, and then make some recommendations for you, even though you have it in writing. I have a few other things I wanted to say, but this is a good time. This is the perfect time to start working on your business. And that all starts with communication. And as Einstein told us so many times, is it's education, it's not the learning of facts. It's the training of the mind to think. And after, Mark, we had a number of people go through the class, and it was interesting to hear their comments, and it's usually the same thing. I see what happened here. I see what I was taught and now why it's going to change. And we had people like Cindy Valentine and immediately going to work right after the class. Took the class 2 times and went right after it. Went and talked to people that she had already talked to that rejected her, and now people are listening to her because she knows what it means not to say the wrong thing or not to say too much, and knows what it's like to say too much. And having the answers to questions, which was what prompted me for this topic today, was extremely important. And I think they'll tell you that once they get through the classes. The first 30 minutes of that class is all about philosophy and what you should have been taught and what you should be thinking. And hopefully a change occurs during that class that says, oh my gosh, I realize who I am now and why I was struggling. Now I'm not going to struggle. And that happens for most people. Now, some people are set in their ways and they know the material and they've had old time training and they're not willing to change. The class is good for them. They love it, but they go back to their old ways. And I can tell you, if you go back to your old ways, it's just be careful of the direction you're going. You might end up where you're headed. If you've always been in that direction and you continue on in that direction, I don't care what product comes along, I don't care what company comes along, you're going to end up where you're headed, which is right where you were. So, talking to a few of the people in the last week that took the class, and then, of course, this situation coming up with a major, major company that actually was, I used the word attacked, and they were literally attacked by our government. And we'll talk about the reasons why, but it prompted me to think about the class, what you're taught, why you should think correctly. And one of the things that comes up in the class, one of the questions, Mark, that comes up is this a pyramid? Is this one of those things here in MLM, network marketing? Is that what this is? Is this a pyramid? And I promise you now that if you asked our entire company, probably most of the industry, how to answer that question, most people couldn't come up with that answer without fumbling. Now, they would be talking about, they'd probably answer it and tell you that, well, it's like corporate America, and even the government is a pyramid. Social Security is a pyramid. They'll all do that. It's because they don't have the right answer. Because all through the years, they've been taught the wrong stuff on how to answer a question like that. And that's just what happened to this company, is that they are now being accused of a pyramid. Now, look, we know the company. Everybody knows it's called Vemma. And Mark, ironically, I got my started with that family that the son now owns the company, but it used to be called something else. When I left the Primerica company, I went to this other company called New Vision, which is where I learned all about nutrition. They have phenomenal products, life-changing products. And it's where the Dead Doctors Don't Lie tape came from. Well, it's where it was marketed heavily, let's put it that way. Dr. Wallach is the one who did that tape. But we used that tape to market to business. That was our website, so to speak. We gave that tape to everybody, and everybody got interested. And we made a lot of money in that company. And throughout the years, the company changed, the family changed. The mom passed away, and dad, I guess, passed away, and the sons and daughters took over the company. And now it's owned by one of the. It happens to be right next door to me here, Mark. I don't know if you knew that or not, but the main office is right here next to me, a few minutes away.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But ironically, what happened is that some of the affiliates did the wrong thing. If what the alleged activity stated is true, if it's true that they did that, then those affiliates did real harm to the company. And what is stated in the complaint is that they used verbal recruiting tactics that lured people to the company to get them to buy a package, a startup package for which they got paid, and then got them on auto ship, which of course would, at least for a few months, get them, paid again without educating the people, Mark. So the other thing, hold on for 1 second here. The other thing is that people don't quite get the actions. They think, yes, we own our company, but we have to be very careful in what we say and what we do. Now, if you notice, a couple of weeks ago, our company put information out there about doing and saying you can't do this and you can't do that. And I suspect it was due to this little incident, big incident here. Now, I happen to know, again, the family that owned this company. And I feel bad for the owner today, BK. I know that he would not, under any circumstances, direct these people to do this and to lure these college students. Remember who pays, Mark, for the college education, basically, and pays for these kids when they're in school? It's the parents. So I would imagine that the people, the parents, got pretty upset at their kids using the credit card and then saying, yeah, well, this guy had me do this, and not understanding what had taken place. They made a complaint. They filed a complaint. There's nothing pyramidal about Vemma. Nothing. Zero. They're a nutritional company, and unfortunately, what's taken place is a lot of people lost their income. The entire company was shut down, and they lost their income. All these people making a lot of money consistently for all these years. We're talking a 20-year-old company here, basically. And now, not only are the assets seized, the company shut down, personal assets seized as well as company, but the people lost their income. Now, here's the end result for the consumer is these people lost their nutrition, used to taking it every day. trying to find an alternative. I'm telling you, they have some of the best products on the planet.
Well, Joe, I've been through this before, years ago, and I talk about this a lot to people because they need to understand. And some people don't like to hear you talk about it because some people actually don't believe that the powers that be, aka our government, they do things that they shouldn't do. And when you think about this situation, like you just explained, what's happening to the owner, the distributors and things of that nature, the FTC came down pretty hard on them in terms of like they're saying that VEMA, they basically award their affiliates for recruiting and for purchasing products, and what they're saying to maintain a eligibility rather than for selling products. In other words, they're setting a precedent. So everybody needs to understand when we talk about terminology and perception, it has to make sense because the perception that you give people is very important. Therefore, you have to use the right terminology because what happens is simply this. And here's where a lot of companies right now have to relook at what their business model is and everything. And what I've done, when I got word of this and everything, and I looked at it, I compared it to Karatbars, and we come out very, very clean, very, very clean. Mm-hmm. And everything that they've got shut down for, we should not have that problem with Karatbars unless somebody uses the wrong terminology and give people the wrong perception. Because let me tell you this, and everybody needs to hear this and understand this. If you have, some people may have multiple streams of income, even with their Karatbars business. But what I'm saying is simply this. If your company is saying that you have to have an auto ship to continually get your commissions, guess what? The FTC frowns on that. And if you know your Karatbars business, you can come in Karatbars for absolutely zero and make money and don't have to have an auto ship. And that's one of the biggest things that the FTC has come down on VEMA about. It shouldn't be that way because to me, if you go out and you build a business and you decide that you want to take off for a while, you should be able to do that and not lose your commissions and business that you built up because you don't have an auto ship or whatever. But usually you're going to have it anyway. But what they're saying is that also about, buying these business packages and everything. You do not have to buy a business package with Karatbars to come in and make money. We know that you should because then you're able to make bigger income with the dual system. Whereas just with the unilevel system, you can make decent money in a year's time, believe it or not, with just that system. So Karatbars has done it right and everything. But what happens is that usually what happens, Joe, is that when the government comes in and shuts a company down, as you said, they freeze all the accounts and everything. And most cases, the money does not come back. I'm a victim of that. I had $10,000 check coming, and a company I was working for got shut down. They were not breaking the law. And I think, Joe, maybe you can remind. I can't think of there's a company that there was nutrition and shakes or whatever it was that they shut down, and then they say, oh, it was a mistake, and they're back in business now. But guess what? A lot of people were gone because they couldn't make any money.
Well, let me tell you about that, my friend, because I tell you, I don't know what company that was, but
it's still going on now. I just can't think of the name of it. But go ahead, and I'll probably come up with it. But go ahead.
Well, it will be a cold day, and you know where to think that this company is going to come back the way that it was. And I mean, you're looking at a company doing $200 million in business, And I don't think the government just picks out a company and says, let's just go find problems and shut them down and take their money. I don't believe that. I know I have been involved in a few companies in the past that were shut down. I mean, companies that were not like this. They weren't product oriented. They were service oriented, and they were doing, they were creating new ways to make money, advertising, get paid to advertise, and all that stuff. And they just couldn't find the right way to do it. Fortunately, not long ago, within the last 2 years, I worked with the government, Mark, and I'm not going to mention the guy's name in Washington, but I helped them restructure and get over $40 million back for people's money that was confiscated during the raid, during the confiscation of the business. And fortunately, the people that had put money into the company got their money back for those that requested. A total of about, 90 million they seized, and over $70 million was given back to the people. So our government doesn't, a lot of people, think that that our government is just on this mission to go attack companies and take their money. We have people that are conspirators and conspiracy people, and I'm not saying I am or I am not one of those people. But I do believe that the government is watching, and they're going to take action on companies they believe are operating illegal pyramids, and that's usually what they get you on. So you have to be careful how you present your company. Our company is solid, yes, but if somebody, I don't care who it is, look, here, let me say this again. Not only do you have to do what's right for the consumer, you have to do what's right for the people around you, because in business, your reputation is everything. Now, that's on my Skype page, because I believe that you have to, no matter what it is, I don't care if you're an upline, a downline, cross line, you have to do what's right for the people around you. That means your affiliates, your partners, the people you work with, your downline. You have to do the right thing. You have to think before you act. You can't be cross-line recruiting. You can't be luring them over with income, saying my group makes more money and I'll show you how to do this, or join my group because you can't be in there luring people with money outside of our affiliates. You have to do what's right for the consumer. You have to tell the truth. You have to know what you're talking about. That's what it boils down to. And I would love, I know Vicky's on this call here, and I see Cindy, and they recently went through the networking communication class. It's really the only one of its kind that we know of. And these things have changed people's lives, because in that class, you get what to do with this situation. We talk about the philosophy and what you should be talking about, and then we give you the questions and answers that could come up when you're talking to people, and how to handle those, and how to effectively move them over to a director. Most people don't even know how to do that. I know this class has gone on here and there, Mark, but I have to say, I look at them and I listen. They're still not projecting the right image to people to be able to effectively take them to a director. Not a 20-minute conversation, a 5-minute conversation that finds out whether you're on the same page. And you can't be talking about income, even if they ask you, are you making any money? That's how this company got in trouble, because they lured them with income, allegedly. If they said to you, is this a pyramid we're talking about, one of those pyramid things, what would you say? How would you handle it? I'm not telling you to write it down, and you don't have to do that. But you ought to write that down on your own, because I said to you, is this industry under attack? The answer is yes, meaning that the government is now watching. They didn't like this industry in the beginning. They don't like it now. because of these tactics, because people are not handling their business professionally. They're not inviting people professionally. And when they're asked about their company, they're not able to say the right thing. Even the people doing director or three-way calls, in my opinion, we have some of the recordings of some of these things. You wouldn't even believe what's being said out there. You wouldn't even believe what three-way conversations are going on by so-called directors, Mark. Unbelievable. Still, today, last week, things that are being said to lure people over because they're talking income. You know why? They have no other way to conduct themselves but to talk about income and how wonderful it's going to be. And you'll see when you join us. If you take that attitude, or the person doing your three-way call, finally getting them over to that person is handling it that way, with that attitude, with that language, creating that perception, you're dead. You might as well not even take them to a three-way. You might as well not, because that person on the other end is going to perceive something that they've always perceived, that this industry is not correct. Instead of presenting it like a business, a real business, when you go to an interview, what does it sound like? What do you do? What words do you say? If they said to you, you know, where does your company make this and make that? How do you deal with all that? And the truth is, you're not going to learn that without getting some serious education and learn how to handle that prospect. And to be able to stand up and say, I'm part of a company that does the right thing, and we may or may not want you with us. If you don't have that stance, you're making a major mistake in this industry. I don't care what teacher tells you any different. I don't care what they say. I don't care how many times they bring people in with all this, wonderful, watch this, and you'll see how good it's going to be. And I'll put you on with somebody making a lot of money and how long they've been in the industry and how wonderful they are. I don't care who does that. They're wrong. Anyway, we have to be very careful. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I went through the lawsuit because I said, Karatbars is such a unique company as compared to other companies in this industry and everything. And like I said, once this lawsuit was filed, and I got a hold of it, and I went through it, and I said, I want to really compare this, because I never ever want to see anything happen with Karatbars. And I said, if anything's going to happen, it'll be that somebody will use the wrong terminology, which will give somebody the wrong perception. And then if they don't make any money, the way that that some people put it on them that way, then they go to the FTC or something like that. And then that's when all the trouble starts. But if we understand that Karatbars is a member of the World Trade Organization, so those are strict laws. Germany has some of the strictest laws of any country, in this industry, and so we're very well protected. So which means that we have to protect the company. Therefore, we're protecting each other, and that goes to what you're saying, Joe. You have to do what's right by the customer, but you also have to do what's right by the people around you, meaning that if you have an organization, you have to be protective of that organization by doing and by saying the proper things. Because, because we have all types of people making all types of money in Karatbars, and but in this industry, because it's being taught the wrong way for so many years, a lot of people are not making that much money, and they wonder why. And then those are the types of people that can cause challenges for the company if they were told the wrong thing. And when you go through, the suit, and it talks about, they call it an illegal pyramid scheme, and they also got them on income claims. They got them on failure to disclose, and they got them on what you call means and instrumentalities. I won't go into that because that's a legal thing and everything. But my point is, I'm saying that to say this: we have to protect what we have here with Karatbars by doing the right thing and by saying the wrong things. And that's why, Karatbars, came up with this program, this compliance. They have a compliance department that watches all these things, and a lot of videos and a lot of material has to go and has gone by the wayside. But let me say this: you can still do the same thing, but with the right terminology. You don't have to have a 12-week plan, and do it the way that it's been done. But you can have a 12-week plan with the right terminology and do the same things. Not necessarily, don't say the same things, but do the same thing. You can have a 4-week, you can have a 8-week, or 12-week, or you can have a 52-week. But the key is the terminology and perception. It has to make sense, and that's how you protect the company and protect your business. And this is what hasn't happened here with Vemma, and that's why they've got shut down. So I'm saying, let us all, as a family, look at what we're doing, look at what we're saying. Are we saying the right things? Are we doing the right things to protect not only ourselves, but protect this company? Because we have something great, and it's really just getting started. Most people, okay, we've been here almost 5 years, the company has whatever. The company still really hasn't gotten started, because the company has some things coming that's going to blow a lot of people out of the water. So the other thing you want to look at is, guess what? A lot of these people with this company are now what? They're looking for another company. We're the perfect company for them. So, but again, we can't make the mistakes that some of them made. And the company didn't necessarily make these mistakes, but probably the distributors made these mistakes because they use the wrong terminology and perception.
Absolutely. That's exactly what happened. Exactly what happened. Let me say to you that again, knowing BK, that he was not telling people to do this stuff. He's not sitting there telling people to to use these kinds of tactics. But let me ask this question. Now let's see how much response we can get from this. And we're at the bottom of the hour, so we're going to be going soon. But let me ask you this question. It takes a few minutes for you to hear this and to type something, but we're going to wait and see. How do you get paid? If someone said to you, how do I get paid? What would you answer? Because this is, now I'll give you time. We'll talk a little bit and wait for you to answer that on here. Let's see if you have the courage to step forward and answer that question. Because this question comes up in a lot of conversations. It may not come up exactly like that. How will I be paid? They may say, what's the compensation plan like? You might get some networker talking to a networker and saying, well, tell me about the compensation plan. What would you do? What do you do? How is that expressed? This is why they got in trouble, because of compensation, of explaining to people, number one, you're going to make a lot of money. Here's how you do it. Let's get everybody together, get you, your friends, and blah, 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 blah. And you come in and you buy this package, and then you get on ownership. Every month you'll get these products. And before you know it, they don't know how to market. They don't know how to talk. They talk to their other friends who say, oh, this is one of those pyramid things. The parents are getting bills on the credit cards because these, again, we're college students. That's the biggest complaint. Don't get me wrong. It's happening outside of college students. But still, a lot of the students that they went after this group of people, this large group of candidates. And they went after that particular segment. Kids with really no money, except their parents. And they used all the wrong terminology to get these kids in, which is not right. I don't know about illegal, but it's not right to lure somebody in that they're going to make a lot of money, and you don't support them. I had somebody take the class this weekend who told me that they've been with the company for a long time. They were promised, this is right here in our company, they were promised all this support. Their upline has disappeared. Don't know how to talk to people. Been in the industry for a few years, number of years. Now understand, oh my gosh, here's what I have to do. But the same thing happens here. Don't kid yourself to think that there aren't people here that are going after other networkers. And by the way, the people at Vemma, I mean, yeah, you might be able to talk to some of the people. I doubt very much that many people are listening. They're all believing their company is coming back. Why? Because they have a legitimate company and it shouldn't have been done. That's true. That thinking happened in every company I was with. It went down and nobody came back. The one company Mark's talking about, I don't remember who that was, but sure he'll remind us, but the bottom line is they usually don't come back. When this occurs, this doesn't happen overnight. This goes through the court systems. I know that money is pouring in to the owner of the company now to support him to make sure that the industry is okay. I know that for a fact. And they're trying to support this so that, we don't as a whole come down. And we won't, as long as what Mark said, we follow the rules. We follow the rules. We follow the communication rules. How do you handle a phone call? What are the 5 steps to it? What do you say when somebody asks you a question? What format do you use? See, these are all things that have to be taught, Mark. Otherwise, you're going to end up with the same people doing the same thing again and failing.
Well, people have to understand too, Joe, that this is our fight as well. I mean, this is the industry's fight, and we're part of this industry.
Exactly.
So this affects us, whether people believe it or not. It affects us as well. And the thing is, we've got something very valuable to protect here at Karatbar. So again, we need to rethink what we're doing, what we're saying, how we do it, when we do it, with who, and everything. People need to understand why they're doing this. What's in it. Like that radio station, WINFL. What's in it for me? The thing is that when you explain that to somebody, you have to explain it the right way. So again, it keeps taking me back to terminology, because that's what brings the perception, how people see you, how people see your company, how they see you. And like I said, people don't care how much you know, they care how much you care. That's what they're concerned about.
Well, I'm still waiting for more answers on this board.
Yeah.
Come on, you can't tell me that you can't at least put up some answer up here. I see people write stuff on here. What's the answer to how do I get paid? I mean, what's the answer? Somebody during a 3-way conversation, or you're trying to share information with somebody and they go, well, how does the pay work? How would I be paid? What is it? What's that comp plan look like? What would you say? That's good. That is good, Vicky. I like what you said here, because that gets us over to, let's get you to a director, because I'm not the person that can answer this. That's basically what she says here. Are you making answer as in the director training? I've seen the company. Currently, I'm in management training. Right now, my job is to schedule the appointments for directors. That's one of the things you have to learn. That's true. So, but if that person came back, Vicky, and said to you, well, look, but tell me, well, how will I be paid? I mean, we can use what she just did here as a technique called QAQ. She was asked a question, she answered it and brought it back, so she understands she's going to move this person forward to a director. She gets that. But that question's going to come up. When it does, what happens? So let's see if we can come up with the right answer. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what the right answer is at this second here. But in order to, you're in a conversation and they jump in and they go, well, tell me about the comp plan. I mean, look, here's the important thing in business. Here's what people want. I don't care what job you go to or what opportunity you participate in. Here's what 2 things. In the back of one's mind, whether they ask you or not, the 2 things people want to know is, what do you want me to do? And how much are you going to pay me to do it? That's it. The whole crux of the conversation is based on that. And you have to explain that to get them to a director, which is very minimal. Your conversation with a new prospect, a candidate, they're only candidates. These aren't, people in the company yet. They're candidates. They're somebody that you have to decide whether you want to work with or not. They're candidates. That's all they are. And you shouldn't be spending any more than a couple of minutes getting them over to a director if they have seen something in the company, some information, getting a piece of information to them. But during that conversation, even after they look at something, they may ask you, what am I going to be paid here? How does the comp plan work? What is it that what I'll be doing? Of course, we can explain that. But the bottom line is they're going to ask about compensation. They want to know, what would I do and how much are you going to pay me to do it? Do you know the people, Mark, that are answering the question are people who have been through the class? You notice that?
Yeah, I see that.
Now, there's other people that have been through the class. There's a number of other people on this call that have been in this class, and I'm surprised, really, they're not answering this question. This should be at the tip of your tongue. This should be in stone. You should be able to say this in your sleep. You shouldn't have to even think about this. And this is one of the things that happen to you when you go through the class. Mark and I have been talking about, for those people, hundreds of people have been through the class in the last 6 months. And Mark said, Joe, we should probably have a refresher for these people and come back in and do a dialogue with them, not just run through the class with them, have them run through it, but run through it with them. Mark did a training the other day for someone whose business is turning around right now. Had gone through the class and forgotten a lot of stuff, forgotten how to use it. Maybe he didn't practice. One of the key things I sent out at 6 people who took the class recently, and I sent them out and put them all on a team to go work together. Don't excuse yourself from that. Go help your partner. If you don't want to learn, go help them learn. Because the people who aren't doing that aren't learning. They went through the class all excited. Oh my gosh, I see it. And then they put it aside. I'm really kind of in shock that we don't have a whole bunch of answers up here from. Now, those of you who are not answering, who didn't go through the class, I don't expect you to put up the right answer. I expect you to put up some answers, though. What would you say? But I suspect that just as if it came live to you, you got stumped because you don't know exactly what to say. And you know what's really funny, Mark? Not funny, it's true, is that most people don't want to look foolish. So they don't put stuff up there. They don't want to say, oh my gosh, I might put the wrong thing. And I agree with you. You don't want to put the wrong thing up there. So good for you if you don't know the answer. I'm going to give you the answer. I'm going to tell you that Matt and Wes have it down. It's not the exact terminology, but their thinking is correct. Remember, it's not the learning of facts. It's the training of the mind to think. Now, Matt immediately put it up there. I'm guessing that's Matt Mortensen. It's the only other Matt I know that would have known the answer to it. And Wes has also been through the class, and he's got the right answer up there. But let me say it to you the way it's given, the way it should be taught, the way it should be memorized. When someone asks me, how do I get paid here? Why in the world would you start talking about compensation plans and all these other things to confuse them? You only need a sentence. You only need one sentence to answer that question. If you are what you're supposed to be on that call or in person, a director in training, you're not a director. All people making phone calls, I don't care how big you are in the company, you're a director in training. You're moving people over to a director. That's the function. And when someone asks these questions, you have to have answers. You have to know what QAQ means. Question, answer, question, because that's a technique to move them to a director. No matter where you are, you have to understand that those answers have to come out quickly with confidence. People don't follow people, they follow courage. If you have enough courage to stand up, to give these answers effectively, to tell people about your business. And when they look in the back of their mind, they're going, "Oh, this might be one of these pyramid things. Oh, the companies get shut down. They don't. It's not legal. They don't." If you come up with these answers that say, "Well, the government is a pyramid," if you just look at Social Security, you'll see, and we get that. You start those answers, all you're doing is dancing because you don't know the right answer. So Matt and yeah, I thought so. Good job, Matt and Wes. They understand. See, they knew this right away. I'll bet they didn't even go look at notes. They knew this in their head. But when someone says, well, Joe, how would I be paid here? Or what's that compensation plan look like? Your thinking has to go to this subject. And it has to be answered like this. And I'm sure these two would have done that had they been in a real conversation instead of typing something on a board. Now, they have it right. To be honest with you, their thinking is absolutely correct. So congratulations. I'll pretend I'm in a conversation with Charlie, who says to me, Joe, I understand. I saw the presentation. I saw that nice website you sent, but I really have a question about the comp plan. How are you paid here? My answer is, Charlie, sure, I understand what you're asking me, but let me tell you this. In our company, you are paid in direct proportion to the effort you put forth. In other words, if you work hard, you're probably going to make a lot of money. If you don't work at all, you probably won't make any money. But let me repeat it, Charlie. You're going to get paid in direct proportion to the effort you put forth. So, Charlie, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a job where someone next to you was doing less and getting paid more? Never happened to you? And he says, yeah, it happened all the time. Say, great. Well, that's the good thing about our company. That will not happen here. You're going to be paid in direct proportion to the effort you put forth. Hold on for a second. Let me get one of my directors here to answer the other questions for you. Hold on a minute. That's exactly how that conversation has to go. You don't need to be telling them about videos, go over here, go do that. We'll get to that. You know, when you get to that, when they ask a question again about, I'd really like to know the details of that comp plan. Great. What I'm going to do is send you over a piece of information. And in fact, you're going to learn all of this in training. It's one of the phrases you should learn. You're going to learn that in our training. If we decide we're right for each other, you're going to learn those in our classes, in our training. We have compensation classes where people teach it. We have videos to teach. You'll get all the integral parts of that. But right now, what we need to do is let's find out if we're right for each other. So hold on for a second. Let me get Mark, and I'll be right back. Go get Mark. Introduce Mark properly. That's for another call. But if you can't answer and do what I just did, you've got problems. Honestly, I hate to tell you, you've got problems. Because you're going to get caught up in conversation where question after question after question is going to hit you, and you're going to end up starting to talk about the comp plan. And that's not your job. That's not even the job of the director. His job is the same answer. You get that in our training. Let's do this because it looks like we have a match. Let's get registered with our company. Of course, you know that is free to register. We're going to register you with an account. That will give you the ability to get into training. And then in that training, we're going to send you information about the comp plan, and we can have some live conversations about it. So let's get you registered because, Frank, the only way, or Charlie, the only way we're going to know whether we really have a match and whether we're really right for each other is if we lock arms for a little bit, for a period of time, maybe 4 to 6 weeks, maybe longer, to see if we're really right for each other. If we are, we'll move forward continually. We'll just continue to do that. If we're not, we might have to shake hands and say, I wish you well in what you're doing. Maybe we're not right for each other, but we're never going to know unless we lock arms here, get you registered, and get you into training. Does that make sense to you, Charlie? Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Great. Let me get you registered. Bob, go over there, get Frank registered or Charlie registered, and so on. If you don't have that kind of dialogue, I suspect you're struggling. Or you're sitting there with the attitude of, oh, please come to our company. I have a new person. Oh, my gosh, it's going to be so wonderful. It'll be great. You're going to love this. You're going to see how to save money. You're going to turn cash into gold. And everybody's going to be wonderful. And this is just this one big old wonderful family. You know what? That doesn't cut it. If it cut it, you wouldn't have over 95% of the people not making money. You're going to start learning the terminology so you don't get your company in trouble. Nothing I said is going to get this company in trouble. You're going to learn it in training. And you're not in training going to get people hyping you up to tell you all about, how wonderful it is to be here. So that being said, Mark, I'm going to let you close. And Wes and Matt, thank you for putting that information up there and leading us down that road because we are, we are in a critical time here. Mark's right. They're looking at this industry again. They always do, but they're looking at it diligently now. When a company like Vima can go down as quickly as they went down with this investigation, and trust me, I feel so bad for those people. I don't believe, Mark, they're coming back. I mean, they may come back in a different way. They'll find a way to rename the company. They can't just leave these products out there. They got a monster warehouse, houses, and people looking for their product. This product is a phenomenal product line. I do not belong to the company. I took the product for years, and ironically, I was just ordering the product again 2 days before it went down, and I hesitated for some reason. You talk about hearing voices, right? I kept procrastinating to order. I almost put a $300-400 order in, and that would have been frozen. Those assets would have been gone. I'd have been sitting here for 2 years waiting for that money back. I hope they change this. I hope somebody brings it to the government and says, look, you made a mistake and you need to turn this around. I hope that happens. Believe me, I hope it happens. I just don't see it happening. I feel so bad that they're in the situation that they're in, and hopefully enough people support them and, get the right lawyers here to get this thing back on track. So, you know what? You have a responsibility to teach people how to conduct themselves in business. You are in business, especially if you've been here a long time. You have a responsibility to learn. You have a responsibility to teach, and you're not going to teach unless you learn. And in my opinion, everybody that takes our class, Mark, comes out of it with the same attitude. With, oh my gosh, I think I learned a lot of this stuff wrong, and now it's time for me to get it right. I'm not saying this is the only thing. This class is all about a combination of all the great teachers in our industry. Jim Rohn, Bob Safford, and mainly Art Williams. So look, congratulations for those of you that go through it. I think we do need to do a refresher, Mark, and we'll plan that and send out a notice to all those who've been in the class to come back to say, what's going on with you now? Is anything changed? Is everything getting better for you, or did you forget? Did you not put it to use? And are you progressing? Because if you're not, maybe it's time to rethink everything and refresh. So thanks for listening today, everybody.
Okay, Joe, thanks a lot. Again, we must keep in mind that, you've heard the saying that if you don't use it, you lose it. And I think that's what a lot of people have done that have gone through this class. And hopefully they can get back and, get that online. Because, again, keep in mind, this affects all of us. We have to protect what we have here with Karatbars. And that's one of the tools that you can use to make sure that you're using the right terminology and giving the right perception to people that you want to bring into this business. So let's think about that, and let's do something about it, because you don't want to see Karatbars shut down. I know you don't. I know I don't. So
hey, Mark, some people might be sitting there saying, oh, that can't happen. They're in Germany, and we're this, and our company. Let me explain this to you. Just one last thing. 2 years ago, I was being recruited to one of those companies that, look different than ours, different structure, somebody trying to redo the types of business that we do. And they moved the company because they were coming under a little bit of fire. And of course, everybody instructed them to move the company to Belize because there are no regulations, the government out of the U.S. hands, they can't touch you. And it's true. They couldn't touch them financially and seize their accounts over there. But what they did is they shut down the servers in the United States. And the company today is still going on. But in the United States, you can't join the company because you can't get on the websites. Somehow, our government has the ability to shut down the servers in the United States. So all the people that were with the company, making money, promoting the company, just one morning they woke up and nobody could get on it and got the notice that the servers in the U.S. for that company were shut down. Now, you think that can't be done for any company around the world? You think again, because our company is extremely legitimate. It's big, legitimate, and can back up everything it has, all its claims. You go fooling around with this terminology and luring people in the wrong way and not acting professionally. Don't think for 1 minute that the U.S. government can't get involved in servers. I believe in this company. I believe in Karatbars. I believe they're doing the right thing, but that doesn't mean that all the individuals in the company are doing the right thing. We've experienced that in the last 2 years, that some people don't really realize what it means to take care of their people and to make sure that they are doing the right thing for the people around them, not just the consumer. We know how that can happen. So be careful. and be careful of the direction that you're going right now, because you could end up where you're headed. Probably will, if it's been the same direction you've been following for years. So with that, thanks for being here, and thanks for being here as well, Mark.
Okay, everybody, we will be back here next week at 12 noon on the Breakfast Club with some more great information for you. And like I said, I went through this lawsuit, and I went through it line by line, and I compared it with Karatbars. We are fine. Let's keep it that way by thinking of what we're doing and using the right terminology so that we can give the right perception to all the people around the world that Karatbars is doing the right thing, and that they can have that confidence in what we're doing and can benefit from it. So with that being said, peace and blessings to you. Go out, make it a great day, make it a great week, make it a great month. And we will see you back here next week. So this is Mark Stevens for our host, Joe Shoup. Peace and blessings, everyone. We'll see you back here next week on The Breakfast Club.